What's going on, my peeps? I got a special video today showcasing this 2013 Scion TC. Now, why do I say this video is special? Well, her name's Betty, first of all, and she's been my first car, and it's finally time to sell her. Yes, that's right. I'm selling my first true love. I'm getting rid of Betty. Why am I getting rid of Betty? I need something faster and more modern. And okay, I'm gonna be honest. I really just need the horsepower. I need something fast to scratch that itch. You understand if you're a car guy. Anyway. But if you're not watching this video just for like the entertainment of me being a goofball, I'm going to talk about you as the viewer. Should you still buy a Scion TC in the year of 2023? These cars were discontinued back in 2016, but I'm going to talk about things such as practicality, reliability, performance, horsepower, daily living with this car. So should you still buy one? I'm going to say yes. So the first thing I want to talk about regarding the Scion TC is reliability and cost of ownership. So 10 years of owning this car, I've had zero problems with it. Cost of ownership has been super cheap. So the only thing I've had to do is oil changes, tires, brakes, all the essentials. But other than that, I have not had anything go wrong with this car. Zero problems. Reliability, 12 out of 10. Okay, coming around to talk about the engine. This has a 2.5 liter 4-cylinder engine, putting out 180 horsepower and like 170 something pound-feet of torque. Now, what does that mean in terms of fastness? It means that this car is very peppy. It'll get up and go. It's plenty of, it's plenty of horsepower. It's all you need. But is it fast, and is it going to throw you in the back seat? The answer to that question is no. This car is not going to throw you in the back seat when you floor it. You're not going to be the fastest car on the road by any means. But does that mean that this car is still fun to drive? Yes, this car is still a lot of fun to drive. Like I'll talk about later, it handles really well. It makes all sorts of fun noises. As you probably heard earlier, I put a Borla exhaust on it, as well as the short ram air intake. But yeah, it's not a fast car. It's not going to throw you in the back seat, but it has plenty of power, it has plenty of pep, and it is definitely fun to drive. Now, I want to do a quick segment talking about the mods I've done on this car. I've done a lot more cosmetic than I have performance mods, but starting off on the front end of the business, baby. Got some red pinstriping that I put, just add a little bit of color. And then over here, I did some plasti dip on the rims about 10 years ago, which is looking pretty shoddy, as well as painted the calipers, which is also looking pretty shoddy. But when you're 16, plasti dip in the rims is like the coolest thing ever. So next on to the side end of the business, we got this cool Scion decal, which adds about 5 extra horsepower. And then right here, I did these carbon fiber door handle wraps, which again adds about another 2 horsepower, so up to about 7 right now. And then these carbon fiber inlays on the side, which really good at collecting fingerprints that do not wipe off. So highly recommend not buying those. These add about like -1 horsepower, so back down to 6. Again, plastic dip on the wheels. And then on the back end of the business, I had carbon fiber wrap applied to half of the wing. Kind of strange, but I think it looks cool because when you're 16, you're going for style points, baby. Yeah, and then we got the red right here. And then I did a Borla exhaust down here in the bottom, if you can see that, which actually sounds pretty good. I'll play the clip again. Vroom, vroom. Under the hood right here, you can't see it because it's invisible, but there's a short ram air intake that you probably saw at the beginning of the video, which again probably adds like an extra like real 5 horsepower maybe. Now I've got a segment where we're going to talk about practicality and trunk space. So as I'm talking about it, I'm just gonna crawl in the back of here, and I'm gonna make myself comfy and cozy, and I'm just gonna lay down, sprawl out, and take a nap because this car has so much space in it. I mean, you could go camping in here. I mean, I'm a 5'9", full-grown male, and look at me. I am living it up back here. I don't know how else to show you guys how big the back of this car is. It looks kind of small in the video, but you can fit your whole family back here. You could fit a dinosaur car. You can fit so much crap in it. If you don't believe me, go buy one and put stuff in it because there's a lot of space. Righty, we are now moving on to the interior of this car. And what does it look like? So door panels, these really awesome 3 speakers right here, which by the way, the sound system of this car is incredible, but just cheap plastics. You have cloth right here. Windows, your driver's side is automatic. Going on to the inside, looking there, got that glowing steering wheel because it's heavenly. You got these black cloth seats. Again, nothing special. I got WeatherTech mats in here because those are special. Sitting behind the wheel, got some buttons right here. You got an automatic. Don't judge me. And then you got your old school analog radio. Now the newer models, like the 2016, have a touchscreen JBL or whatever. And yeah, so very simple. But something that's really cool about this car, you might not be able to tell, but this whole center console is like shifted sideways and is like looking at you as the driver, like, use me, love me. All right, now I'm making it weird. But yeah, so from over here, you can kind of see it's like slanted toward the driver. So when I was first looking at cars, when I was a wee 15, 16-year-old tot, I looked at this car and I fell in love and I was like, this is so freaking cool. I've never seen a car that's like angled toward you and is like the driver centric focused car. But yeah, enough on that. Kind of went overkill. But yeah, very simple, plain interior. Sound, again, on the sound system, I don't know what kind of sound system's in this car, but it freaking kicks butt. And there's a sound system called Feel, and if you're not using that sound system in this car, you're doing something wrong. I don't know. All right, we're now sitting behind the wheel, and I'm going to talk about what it feels like to drive this car. So first off, it has a very heavy, tight, sporty feeling steering wheel. It is nicely leather wrapped, which is the only nice leather thing in this car. Everything else is cheap plastics. And it's also flat bottom. Some people really like flat bottom steering wheels and say it's a must-have to be a sporty car. I don't really know what the argument is there. Anyway, I like it being a flat bottom because a lot of times I drive with my hands down here and it just feels nice and natural to rest my hand right here. But yeah, nice, heavy, sporty feeling steering. As far as the handling, it goes where you point the car. It handles really well. And on the topic of suspension, it is a very bumpy ride in here. It does not have very soft suspension at all. Like, everything rattles in this car. When you hit bumps, you feel every bump. But that does not mean it's like spine breaking. I've been in some cars that like don't have suspension, and you literally hit a bump and you feel like your spine has just snapped in half. That is not how this car is. It is a rougher ride. You feel the bumps more, but they are not painful, if that makes any sense. But yeah, overall, very sporty drive. It handles really well. It goes where you point it. Like I said, I've taken this on a track and it handles really, really good. So now let's take a look at how roomy these back seats are. So let me crawl back in here. And remind you, this is a two-door car. If you haven't been watching the video, notice this car only has two doors. And let me roll these seats up. And so this is how I keep my driver's seat. I have not moved it, right? So let me go crawl over here. Look at how much space there is. Like, I don't know, this is like 50,000 hand lengths between my knees and the back of the seat. This is called a seat, right? But let me pull this back too, just to give you, like, look at how much space there is. I don't know how to describe it to you, but like, this is such, I could go on a 5-hour road trip in the back of this car. It is so roomy. It is so comfortable. There's even more space in the back of this car than my wife's SUV. Let's put it that way. So I'm filming this portion of the video in my garage because I forgot to talk about it when I had the car outside. But what I want to talk about is the color on this car. So some of you might be wondering what that's called. It's called Cement. That's the official name from Scion back in 2013. Again, it is called Cement. And if you're familiar with some of Audi's lineup, they call this color Nardo Gray. Kia also has some cars. The Stinger has it in the same color. They call it something really strange. I don't know what they call it. But back in 2013, this was like the first car on the road that had this color. And it was so cool and so unique. And I had people asking me all the time, like, dude, that's a really sweet custom paint job. Where'd you have that done? And I was like, it's not custom. Like, that's just how it came. But so on the topic of paint as well, you're probably noticing how daggum shiny this car is. Well, an entire week compounding this car as well as polishing it and then following it up with a ceramic wax. So I did the compounding over the course of a week. I broke it up over 5-7 days. Compounding, if I'm being honest, takes forever. Now, polishing, I did that in about an hour, hour and a half. Polishing is super quick. It doesn't take nearly as long as compounding, but I think the results speak for themselves because you can just see how shiny and beautiful this car looks. I mean, it looks brand new right off the showroom floor, but yeah, I labored and I put so much love into this car. There is not a single swirl on this car. I don't know if you can see, but there is not a single swirl on this car, and it looks like a glass mirror. And talking about Scion as a brand, I wanted to mention that as well. Scion was a sub-brand of Toyota, which I said as I discussed earlier, was discontinued back in 2016. 2016 was the last year this car was made, which I think is an absolute bummer. I mean, I think if they made this car rear-wheel drive and they put either just a turbo on that 4-cylinder, or if they put a V6, this would be the perfect car because it's a hatchback for one. And I don't like hatchbacks, but I love how this car looks. A lot of hatchbacks just look really strange and just like a big lumpy box to me. To me, you have the hatchback look, but it doesn't look like a box. That's just me personally. You might disagree, but I just love like every aspect of this car, especially the trunk. As mentioned earlier in the video, you can put a full-size mountain bike in the back of this car without taking the wheel off of it, which is just absolutely insane. But yeah, super practical car. It looks incredible. I still get complimented on to this day. And I have my neighbors, they were like, dude, you have like a super nice car. What is that? Like, this car was $20,000 brand new back in 2013. Like, it has, I mean, this is not an expensive car or what would be considered like a nice car. I think if they remade this car in 2023 or 2024, put some more power in it and like updated, you know, modern tech and equipment, I would probably buy one again. Because honestly, this is like the best car I've ever owned in terms of just overall practicality and every aspect of it. But yeah, so we're gonna end that here, and stay tuned because I'm gonna do a video on this car. Comment if you think you know what it is, but going from 180 horsepower to 375, a bit of a power increase. So, you know. This video, thank you all for sticking around and listening to me be a goofball. I really appreciate it. And I appreciate you sending the final farewell and goodbye to Betty over here. She's been a great car. Go pick one up if you've got a budget around $13,000, $15,000. Great cars, really fun, super practical as I talked about. But yeah. We're gonna say goodbye to Betty, and stay tuned because I've got a video following this showcasing the new car I picked up. You're not gonna wanna miss it. Super cool, super unique car. I've only seen like 3 of them on the road. So stay tuned for that and subscribe because you're not gonna wanna miss it. All right, guys, I'll see you soon. Peace out.